Good evening, traders. It is Thursday, November 16, 2023. Recording this a little late in the evening here. Had some family engagements today. So we're going to make it short for you, and let's just jump in. So SPY down or up just slightly today. SPX up a little over $5. You wouldn't have known it from the price action on the day. So we're going to take a quick look at the intraday chart. Here at the open this morning, markets ran up, and we ran up decently from the open. Ran all the way up to about 45.12 or so here around 10 o'clock. And then right from that point, we just tailed off all the way down here to the lows of 44.87 by 11:30. And then at that point, we just started to move higher, a little bit of a pullback, and then continued march higher on the session. So markets did finish up on the day overall. Nothing exciting really, but we were able to scalp a little bit on some of our accounts, make a little money in there. So let's go in and take a look at really what the overall markets look like on the day today. And we'll begin with SPY. Just went through exactly what the intraday was like. But when you look at it, it was almost a flat nothing day. But just taking a look here, the gap up 2 days ago and run yesterday, a little gap up, finished off our highs today, ran lower and then rallied all the way back up to finish near the highs of the session. We are overbought according to the RSI. MACD starting to maybe tip over. We'll see. It's a 1 day candle. Well, we are well above the 3 ATR on the daily. Not on the weekly at all, but on the daily, pretty overbought. You would think this market has to come back a little bit, but it really was resilient today. Thought, okay, maybe this is the start of it. Yesterday we gapped up, finished lower. Today we kept moving lower, but then the rally came midday on the session, and we finished up on the day. So I still think overbought, and I think to get long here doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think you need a pullback before you can get long. Quick look at the Qs. Pretty much the exact same story all over again. Overextended, RSI above the 70 level. 1 day MACD turnover. Weekly looks good. Daily getting a little overbought above the 3 ATR. Looking at IWM, it did give up a bit today here after a pretty huge day back on Tuesday. Big reversal candle yesterday and then lower session today. Breaking the 3 ATR, reverting back in here. MACD trying to tip over today along with RSI. But the weekly still looks good to the upside like everything else. So everything right now looks decent on the weekly charts and looks overextended on the daily chart. Pretty standard right now. Put call ratio was still lower on the day, below our typical lines, which would again bring the put call ratio down, which is going to push the market up. VIX on the day relatively unchanged, nothing going on with the VIX. US dollar pretty much flat on the session, did nothing on the US dollar after its down day there. If we look at the 10-year, gave back a little bit of yesterday's gains. Closing back towards its recent lows here. And of course, that would then push TLT back up as we just consolidate sideways here on TLT. Again, like the markets, weekly moving up, daily getting a little weak, some sideways action on TLT. I think that's what you're going to be in for a while. If we're looking at the futures, dollar was down, 6A was down, so your Aussie dollar was down, your British pound was down a fraction, Canadian dollar was down, and 6E, which is the euro, up fractionally, really a sideways move, nothing exciting there. Bonds we've already covered, just starting to create this pretty interesting scenario in here of a rising wedge right now. So a little small rising wedge Still in an uptrend line. Can't really draw anything major off of that. Only a couple points to connect with. But again, weekly looks good. Daily, sideways action, but a rising wedge here over the last week or two. So I think this is interesting, something to watch. Do you break out to the upside? You got Bollinger Band and the 3 ATR starting to open up on the upside. So we could be in for a little bit of a up move on bonds. We'll keep watching. Oil, big story on the session. Get this in focus here. Big story on the session on oil. Pretty good sized down day. We've had a couple of these recently. We had one here back on 10.4. We had another one here on 11.7, and then a big down day today. Oil, really just opening up around 76, closing all the way down at 73. A 3-point move, almost 4 points on the session. Pretty good down move, getting a little bit of a bounce in the aftermarket sessions here, after hours sessions. However, tagging the 3 ATR and the bottom of the Bollinger Band, breaking through this downtrend channel, moving past the 2 ATR as well. The daily, bearish, oversold. Weekly, still bearish and not near oversold yet. So that could be, I think, some more downward move on this. I think now we're going to start to look at 70 as a level here, since we broke some previous levels in here. There's not a whole lot down here to take a look at. Maybe, the 72-ish range. I think you just keep an eye on. Oil. It cost us a little bit today on our session, and we'll cover that loss today. Gold, however, rebounded on the session. So gold having a good day. MACD and RSI on the daily continues to rise. Gold looks good, sitting dead in the middle of its Bollinger Bands and ATR bands. Great place to sell strangles, which we did as well on gold. All right, so there's your futures. Taking a look at the sectors on the day. Leading sector, utilities, believe it or not, but only up 0.5%. XLK, 0.5%. XLC, communications, up 0.5%. These are all overextended. Okay, XLU, maybe not quite as much, but still tagging the 2 ATR and at XLK well above the 3 ATR, and a pretty decent little up move today. Overextended. I think you just got to be careful. XLF financials, overextended. SOX, which is your semiconductors, overextended. XLB, which is your materials here as well, overextended. Taking a look at XLI, industrials, overextended. I'm sorry, this was utilities back here, overextended. Real estate, overextended, down slightly today. XLY, overextended, pulling back. Pharma, not overextended at all, but half of these that we've talked about, all overextended. XLP was overextended a bit. XBI, regional banks, overextended. XBI is your biotech, KRE, your regional banks, overextended. XLE, almost overextended to the downside with oil, and then oil just dropping, massively today, almost 3% drop in oil, but getting overextended as well. Here, when you're looking in relative terms, according to the 3 ATR levels, Apple moving higher on the session, overextended. Microsoft, big move today, 1.7% higher, setting some new highs in here, trying to keep up with this thing, overextended. Look at the RSI. It has been overextended now for well over a week, almost 2 full weeks now. Been overextended since this move here on 11/3. So 13 days overextended. Amazon was overextended, pulled back significantly yesterday, pulled back more today, but bounced on the session. RSI, MACD heading lower. Meta getting overextended, but did have an update today. Google, not overextended yet, still moving higher. So Google may have a little bit more room to go. NVIDIA, over the 3 ATR, overextended, overbought. Tesla filled its gap yesterday. We can get rid of the gap. And a down day today. And this is why your XLY, looking at the sector, was down. When you have both Amazon and Tesla, it's two main components, both down, but Tesla, the larger down move today. So Tesla, pretty decent down move, hit the 50 EMA. Netflix moved higher, overextended. CRM moved higher, 3 ATR, RSI overextended. Adobe moved higher, above the 2, close to the 3 ATR, and RSI pretty close to overextended. Adobe up to the 3 ATR, RSI a little bit overextended, MACD starting to roll over. So there's the scenario. I just ripped off, I don't know, what is it, 11 stocks, a bunch of sectors, futures, everything overextended. Doesn't mean we can't stay there for a while, but I think you got to expect that a pullback is coming at some point. Our biggest problem is and continues to be right now oil. So oil on the down move on the session today, pretty hefty down move. Didn't stop us out of anything, but we were forced to roll a naked put that we had. So we have some solo naked puts on in oil that we put on back in here. Started to rally. Those were looking great. And then 3 pretty good down sessions here. But oil is what we got to keep an eye on. Now, oil volatility back in play now, starting to really move back up. It never really came way off. It had come down quite a bit. Marine reverted to the 21, bouncing back off of that MACD and RSI. So on the move, oil volatility back in play. I think you have good options here to sell some 112s or potentially the 1122 in oil. I think that's great. Gold volatility, though, continues to drop and be weak. So overall volatility on gold and the markets doing nothing, moving lower. Oil volatility moving higher, brings us into our account on the session today. Quick look here on the day. We ended the day with 329 delta, totally fine, 0.1% delta, well within our 0.2 parameter up and down. Theta 977, totally fine, 0.3. We'd like a little bit more theta. We'll see if we can get some more trades on. It's been affected a bit by some of this volatility drop. Net lick dropped today. I don't know if that's a right net lick. I don't remember being down eight grand, but down to 317. So we're off of our all-time highs that we set just about a week ago. So net lick dropped on the session. BP rising a bit on the session. A lot of that is oil span margin starting to increase, but BPU still at 60%. Totally fine. And considering that, again, almost 10% of my BP is in BIL. So there we do have BP to use, and I think we're going to put it in play tomorrow. Did have a loss today, though, $2,380. We are still over 20 grand for the month, but we did take a loss today, $2,380. That loss was a CL naked put that I rolled. And yes, I took in a credit for this. So probably most of you would think, okay, he's got a credit. Why did he take a loss? And I rolled it for a credit, but a rolling is just taking a loss and reestablishing a new trade. So the way I'm accounting for it here is I'm going to account for it as a loss. I closed out the original and I opened a new one. I'm not going to call it a wash. I'm not going to call it a credit. People out there doing naked puts or covered calls or something like that. If you have to roll, you're taking a loss and putting on a new trade. I hate to roll. I hate rolling. I hate it with a passion, okay? Because rolling is taking a bad trade, taking the loss, and then placing another trade in something that's doing poorly. However, I do believe in oil. Can we go down a little further? We certainly can. I still believe in oil, so I rolled out a little bit further in oil here. And, so that's why. I still believe in it. I've got 2 more naked puts on. They're not doing great. They're not at a 2x loss either. I will take those under consideration. Will I roll them all? Potentially, if I have to. Or I could just take the loss on it. I got the loss here, but I got a new oil trade put back on here, which has got really good premium because I did, again, roll for a credit. But I did roll this strangle, and I'm going to play it or account for it this way, is that I take the loss, because I really want you to consider that when you're rolling and you get a credit, you really aren't making money. Okay, you're taking a loss and putting on a new trade in the same dumb underlying that you're losing money on. Okay, which is why I usually hate it. However, here I do like the underlying. I still think my thesis is valid that we find some bottoming here. I have been 100% wrong on where I thought oil would stop. We've dropped below that. I was really betting for oil futures to really try to find some footing around 78-ish level or so, and that was the 200-day moving average. We broke through it, and we broke down today in a pretty good way, down to 73. So right now I'm wrong. However, we are well below the 2 ATR. We're close to a 3 ATR touch today. However, I'll touch base on that. And RSI is oversold. Can it stay there? Yes. Can you go lower? Yes. Your 3 ATR, again, it's great when you get to it and you want to play the reversal when the 3 ATR is not heading lower. But now it's moved from maybe a 30-degree drop to about a 45-degree drop. Once you hit that 45 degrees down on the 3 ATR line, you can ride that for quite a ways. So I don't expect the reversal to happen, maybe right here. But let's see what happens. Are we overextended? I think we are overextended overall. Can we go lower on oil? We can. I'm going to take a look now at 70 being my next level. Let's see if we can find some support in here. Maybe get a little bit of a pivot here. It's not a great level to move across, but I'll draw this pivot level here, okay, which is right around, I think, 70, almost 72 and change, 73. That's the next level. Outside of that, you're looking at these previous lows in oil that we had hit way back in June as potentially another area to account for. Can it go lower? It certainly can. We will be keeping an eye on this. It's probably the worst performing piece, and it's accounting for most of my net lick loss. But hey, I want to make sure that I could have not done this video tonight. It's late. It's 10:30 my time doing it. I really wasn't up for doing it when I just got home. But I want to make sure that you don't just get only winning trades from me. I'm posting losers when I get them. I want to make sure that I'm 100% open on that. Now, the last time we had a losing day, okay, was October 3rd. Okay, so we've now gone since October 3rd on a losing day. We've had a pretty good run all the way to today. So that was 32 sessions, 32 trading sessions before a losing day. I will take that any day of the week. Spec trade gone slightly awry. We've rolled it. We'll keep the dream alive. We'll see what happens. Don't love the roll. But I wanted to make sure I shared my losses with you because I feel like, man, every day is a winning day for the most part. And I want you to make sure that I share losses with you as well. All right. Have a great rest of your evening. I know it's late. We'll see you guys tomorrow in the market. I have a conference tomorrow. I will be out most of the day. I will do my best to post something tomorrow night if I can get to it when I get home. If not, it'll be Saturday. We got some great new stuff coming for you guys. We'll get more into the long-term trades. We'll get more into the 1122 trades, and we're going to get more into the tiered 112 trades that I got working, and those are fantastic. I can't wait to show you what we got there. So loser day today, knocked that thing out, rolled it. Let's have a good day tomorrow. Everybody stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.